Alright, so Asher's gonna go explore the city with 4 undead. Beefcake, what is your plan? Are you actually gonna go look for some zombie gnomes? Oh boy. Do you intend to just roam the streets looking for zombie gnomes, or do you wish to visit one of the guild halls that sell undead and try to buy a zombie gnome? Oh, okay. We'll say 10. Thank you, Mivita. I've been drinking. I have a bottle of water here. So Beefcake is going to go peruse the city for undead gnomes with 2 undead. Daffodil, what is your plan for the day? His name is Dalvor, and his raven's name is Valis. You're gonna drag the Raven, Queen Priest, and his Raven to a library. Okay. The Raven Queen and the Primordial Ooze. Sure. And Jorlo, what is your decision then? Do you wish to explore, or do you wish to learn more about zombie gnomes? This is about the same team split up that led to exploding gnomes, yes. And now it may potentially lead to zombie gnomes. What this means for the city of Goveda, only time will tell. Most likely also explosions. Ideally not, but most likely also explosions. Right now, the party is splitting up. Asher was going to roam around the city, just mindlessly. Beefcake and Jorlo are going to look for zombie gnomes in the city, and Daffodil is going to the library with the Raven Queen Priest. Vincent, were he here, was going to go talk to the guild lord that had stopped to meet you guys. But he is not here, so he's not doing that. I believe Vincent wanted to talk to the guy who was selling the Anchorluxes. Yeah, that's what it was. But he's not here, so... yeah. You didn't have to feed the rich people. The rich people would have made do. Most likely eating themselves and each other. I can tell you a little bit about this gnome that you have found as you're wandering the city. Why do you want to enlarge the gnome? You know what? Anyways, I can tell you a little bit about this gnome that you have found as you're wandering around the city. You get a little closer to him, and you can tell that he looks not... if he is alive, he's not a very healthy gnome. This is a very emaciated looking gnome as you get closer. Like, the skin is basically hugging his bones. There's hardly any flesh on him. And his skin's really, like, gaunt looking, pale, really, yellow, almost. and his eyes look really sunken in, and his limbs look very like scrawny. He's wearing these big heavy robes that are like draping on the ground as he walks, and he's got various like scrolls in his like sashed around his belt, and he's carrying like this big book under one arm. The book is like almost the size of him. And he's using a staff to walk, and he has to like really lean on it because he can barely walk. So yeah, this is not a healthy looking gnome. Most likely undead, but he could also just be a very unhealthy gnome. Sure, you want to roll perception. Are you looking for anything in specific? Okay, you can roll perception for that. Hard to tell. Because you're trying not to draw attention to yourself, and to tell that much, you'd have to get pretty close to him. So, hard to tell. From a distance, it doesn't look like, despite how much he's leaning on the staff, it doesn't look like he's wheezing or anything. Like you would expect him to, with the way how unhealthy he looks and how much he's really struggling to walk. He doesn't look like he's wheezing or having trouble breathing. So either he's healthier than he looks, or he's not breathing. Okay, one of your undead kind of like tries to rush forward a little bit to catch up with the other gnome. Give me a second. Just gotta check something real quick. So your undead rushes forward and bumps into this undead gnome. And you can see the gnome kind of stumble. And I just said undead gnome. My bad. Yes, he is undead. That accidentally gives it away, but yes, he is undead. He bumps into this he bumps into this gnome, and the gnome stumbles. And as he like wheels around to your undead, you catch a glimpse of his, like a better glimpse of his face. And not only are his eyes sunken in, you can tell like they're like black eyes, as in like he doesn't have irises, right? Like it's just black little marbles for eyes, essentially. And you see him, like, as he turns around, like, jab his staff at your undead, and your undead just collapses into a pile of bones. And he just strikes the ground again with his staff, turns around, and just keeps going forward, grumbling to himself. Alright, well, you do some planning about that. Daffodil and Etse, what are you guys up to? Alright. Beefcake, you open the door. And, this shack looks completely ruined. It's like this very bare-looking shack. Half of it has collapsed in the back. You can see the ceiling just like sloping down to the ground and just debris all around. And you just see a sofa, like this moth-eaten sofa with the back of it to you. And you do see like a person sitting at the sofa. You walk in. Jorlo. You watch as Beefcake steps through the door and disappears. Gone from view entirely. Beefcake, you step through the door and you find yourself in a cavern. And I'm just gonna send you what you see in that cavern. And he says to you, "Well, Beefcake, now that you're here, we can talk." And that's where we can end the session. Hope you guys had fun.